Hi, day 9 Advent. Joe here, Willie Cottage. It's chilly. I hope you all survived that, is it called Barra storm yesterday? I did have a look on the Met Office lists for the stormers for the next year, and one of them's called Dudley. Dudley, I mean, come on, he's not exactly going to be off his rocker, is he? Oh, Dudley, bit squirrely. Anyway, day 9 Advent, and today it's not BFL. Okay, so where's my number 9? It's here. So in here we have a lovely roving of merino and soya bean. There we go. So it's in these lovely tones. I have tried to make a conscious effort when I was dyeing everything up that you could string together some either spinning projects or felting projects where colours would complement each other and you can use them together in one project, like if you want to knit with them or something like that. So I have made a conscious effort to try and make sure things will be able to work together without them clashing too much. But I did do 2 different dye lots of this one, so some of you will have different colours from what I've got. So we've got these bits of blues in there, and it's taken on the soya bean a little bit on mine, but not overpowering, it's just more of a subtle hint. So what I thought I would do today, instead of spinning, was do some wet felt in vessel. And I haven't done one for ages, and I wanted to make one so I could put a plant pot and something like that inside it. But also that came in mind, so you guys should have this as well. During the summer I did a arts and crafts fair, and I sold 2 of my crocheted hand spun shawls to one of the stall holders, not actually from anybody that visited. But I did meet a guy who makes these. Well, actually, I commissioned him to make me some coffee mats. Oh, you can't see. Hold on a minute. This light, hold on a sec, I shall just swizzle it around a little bit. So, Willie Cottage glass coffee mats. But at the same time, I got him to make these little magnets. So I'm hoping I can let you see this on a sec. So mine has got a little llama on it. So some of them have got sheep on them, some of them have got llamas on them, some of them have got snowflakes, Christmassy sort of themes anyway. So that's what was included in today's. So that was from a guy at Keekle Arts, and he is a local Whitehaven crafter, and he does all the craft stands all over the place. Lucky enough, he drives, so he can afford to do that, but he makes these himself. But yeah, you can commission him to do all sorts. He does glass clocks and things like that. So yeah, we've got a couple of these. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do today, is a little bit of wet felting. So I'm just going to move my basket out of the way. Oh, there we go. So that's up my way. I'm going to turn my light round a bit because I need the light to see what I'm doing, and then I will point you down and get some bits and pieces done. So I might do a bit of talking while I'm doing this, because there'll be a few out there that have never done this before. Really easy to do. Now, I did, just for the off chance that you want to be able to watch a little video because maybe I don't explain what it is that you need to do properly, but I found a lady on YouTube, and it's literally a 5-minute video. You couldn't ask for a video any shorter that tells you exactly what you need to do, how to do it, how to achieve it, without spending 45 minutes waffling like some videos do, which, like, oh, come on, I just want to get to the bit that I need to do next. So this lady makes it really look simple, and it is really a simple thing to do, and it's all just about layering your fibres. So that's what I'm going to do with mine. But I've also brought down some of this sparkly mixed fibre as well, because I want to embellish it a little bit. So you want to pull strands. I'm going to split this in half, because I don't want to work with too big a clumpy fibre. And what else have I got? I have got a bamboo mat. You can get these from a variety of different fibre suppliers. Just to name a few, Adelaide Walker, think Wing and Wool, don't quote me on that. and definitely World of Wool because that's where I got mine from, but this is the standard size. You can get them smaller from different people, but it's definitely worthwhile looking. Or even just go on Amazon, that one. Go on there and see, just type in bamboo mat and you should be able to come up with something. That wasn't even expensive really, to be fair. I think it was well under a £5. So it's just something I've always had in my toolbox stuff for whenever I feel like doing a little bit of wet felting. Then you'll want some bubble wrap and you'll want a little pair of sharp scissors, okay, because you need them to cut a little hole out the top. And I can't find any of my netting, so I've got an old curtain net which shouldn't really make the fibres adhere to it, but I'll muddle through. It's just what I want to have that over the top when I'm applying my water. And I've got a jug of water and it's sat there soaking at the moment, and a bar of my olive soap as well. And now this stuff came with my fridge and I've got loads of it, and this is what you want. You want to cut yourself out a piece of foam that's going to easily be able to be pulled out the top. Now I have used and experimented, you know, Polly Pockets, the plastic film inside of there, or even a piece of acetate if you've got any. Use that and cut out the shape that you want to create. Go for a circle, it's the easiest. I've pulled that one out because that's what I could get my hand in the box and pull out first. I did have some big circle ones, but I don't want to do a massive one because I just want to stand here and do it at my table instead of going clearing my blinking sewing table, because there still works on there that I have not even had a chance to get to the sewing machine, even though I promised myself I would do it Tuesday. I haven't had a second. I don't know what I've been up to. I haven't even done the housework for, I would say, at least the best part of 4 or 5 days. I've just been doing bits and pieces and then not much else after that. I don't know if you guys are feeling the same. You just want to bunker down and not do much. So I will manoeuvre the video around so you can see what I'm going to do, and I'll just talk you through the basics of it, and then I'll stick some music on. You can see what I'm doing as I go along. Right, so first of all, you want to get your shape, and you want to just pull out soft strands, and you want to fan it out from the centre and all the way around. You do want to leave an overlap, okay, because you're going to, once it's been wet on the top, you're going to flip this filling over with your wool on the top of it as well, and then you're going to flip it over and you're going to fold these sides over, and this is going to start creating your solid vessel, and there's going to be a seal on the edge of it. So you just want to go around, and you don't want to do it too thickly. You want nice thin strands because you want it to be sort of like a cobweb by the time you get round. There we go. Oh, there we go. You could definitely rootle through your house. I bet you've got a bit of bubble wrap and some old, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of netting, mesh. You want some sort of mesh fabric. And then you get some more fibre and you start going crosswise over the fibre you've just laid. And start filling up that centre section. And this will help with the felting process. And then I want to do some straight over the top. Like that. And it just helps it all knit together. Okay. It looks like there's a lot there, but once it's been wetted and then soaked, and then you start going through the actual felting together process, it will definitely thin right down. Okay, so that's me covered my shape, and now I'm going to use my bit of net, put it over the top. Now I haven't got a squishy thing. I might actually have got a clean sponge, so it hasn't been used yet. So we'll use my sponge, just a standard kitchen sponge. And I'm going to rub it up the top and then just ever so slightly sponge out. Squish most of that off there. I'm going to sponge out and wet all the way through into my wool. A bit more water, but not too much, just enough. And then just use my fingers to start agitating and soaking through into that wool onto the mould. Right, so I'm going to peel this off. Oh, it's still a bit wet there. Well, it's not wet yet. Okay, so a bit more. I don't want to do this too much because I've got a feeling that my net is actually cotton, and if I'm not careful it'll felt to it. So you don't want to use cotton, you want to use some sort of netting. I just can't find it. I don't know what I've done with it or where it's gone, but this will just be fiddly for me. If you guys make sure that you find some sort of mesh that you can put over the top of this that won't let the fibres adhere to it, then you should be fine. But I knew I was going to have this problem before I even started, but that's okay. There we go, safe. So I'm just going to make sure they're all patted down a little bit, all those fibres that have come loose. Then I'm going to get the mould, the resist underneath, and I'm going to flip it over. Now you should have all these edges, okay? So you want to, because the fibres are all wet, you want to just brush them down. And if you have to get your scissors so you don't end up with actual creases, but I should be all right. I'm just going to put a bit more water on this, just to, right, so I've got a crease there. I want to get rid of that crease, so I'm just going to cut up there a little bit, and that'll help me mould this around. And a bit more, all the way around there, and there. More there. There we go. I'm just going to wet it down a bit with my hands just so it doesn't keep fluffing up. So there we go. So that's my shape. I'm going to do the process again on this side. So I'm going to work my way all around, leaving a little bit hanging over the edge. Just keep going. Oh, do you know what? I need to get a towel. Oh, my hands are a little bit wet and soapy. Just plunk that down there. There we go. This is a fun project to do with your kids or the grandkids, because it's not hyper messy. You get to play with colours. It's a little bit of time that you can spend doing creative things that doesn't involve paint and glue. It's just soap and water. What cleaner project could you do? Where's the rest of that roving? So I'm going on to this other little piece of roving that I've got left now from the split, and I'm going to just keep working my way around. A bit more, bit more, and then layer over the top again to help those fibres knit together in the opposite direction. this way. A bit thick there, I don't want it too thick. You want it slightly wispy. That's why you make sure that you don't do too thicker layers. Oh, this piece wants to come back with me. You want to do it thin, because when you're doing thin layers like this, it means that you can actually embellish as you go along. If you want to, once you've done this first section now, once you've done this bit here, and then you flip it over again, then you can start embellishing. You can add in your woolly neps, you can add in bits of silk, you can layer on locks on there as well. So that's that piece done. Yeah, so you can add the embellishments on afterwards once we've got this next stage done. I'm going to add on my dodgy piece of net again and soak with some soapy water and a bit more around the edging and pat that down. You don't want it saturated with water where you're working in a lake. You just want enough water on there for it to actually soak through the thin layers. And then just rub it around. Okay, so I'm going to take this off. See, let's have a look underneath. A bit more. Yeah, it's not sticking too bad this time. Oh, I don't want my wool to be all over the place. Right, well, you stay down there. There we go. Another piece here. Okay, so that's my wool soaked on this side. I'm going to flip it over again and then pull over, and that creates my entire seal. That's that in place now. I'm just going to gently stretch all the fibres over the top. And a bit more on this side. Side there, and these seals, they'll completely disappear as you're felting them in. So I'm just gonna, just ever so gently, I just want mostly soap on there, and I'm gonna get my bubble wrap on the bubbly side over the top, and I'm now gonna start rubbing and kneading in the fibres so they start to knit together. And you want your water to be lukewarm. You don't want it cold, because the heat helps with the reaction as well. I'm going to stick a bit more soapy suds on there. And keep going around. And then at the same time, you want to be rubbing around the edges, because you want them to be defined and knit together as well, and they won't split open when it comes to moulding the actual and filling the item. And I'm just going to use my knuckles and I'm going to flip it over and do the same on the other side. I'm going to add a little bit more soap to that. your hand on the actual item itself and just make sure you agitate these edges really well. Now, I would say that this is the time that you probably want to add any embellishments to it before you go any further. So, I was going to do this. Actually, yeah, I think I might still do this, but I want to do it. So, this is going to be the bottom of my... Let me see how pretty is the other side. Yeah, because I don't want it overpowered with pink, do I? So, which side shall I go for? Actually, I think I'll go for this one. And I want to create some sort of flame coming from the bottom, and I'm going to leave some strands hanging over the top. So I'm going to go with a 3 points. Oh, just stay there. Start with my 3 points first because it is like an egg sort of shape, and then I'm going to do some more here. It's really hard playing with fluff when you've got wet hands. See, it wants to come everywhere with you. Stop it. Oh, I want to put a bit more on this section here, but I want it to go over the other side when I flip it again. Going to keep laying this on, but you can, as I say, you can use locks on here and do swirls or whatever you want with them, but I want this to sort of show up on the other side of this vessel. Do a bit more there, but I don't want them too thick because I want the other colours to still sort of pop through a little bit. So there we go. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to get my net again and just ever so gently add a bit more watery soap stuff to those until they stick to the wool on the mould. Just give it a quick rub down. You can take your time when you're doing yours. I've got to just be careful, conscious of my time and the video. So I will fast forward the next stages in a minute. But I will put a link in the descriptions as to who I think is the best one. If you just want a quick tutorial to get the gist, I shall drop the link in my descriptions. So that's that now. I'm going to give this another flip over, fold these edges over, and then I'm going to start actually working the felt in my bamboo net and a bit of bubble wrap. So I'm just going to fold these pieces over here. There we go. So the fibres are still moving around a little bit. They're not quite felted in yet. So I'm just going to add a bit more soap to this side. And then do the exact same thing on the other side. And I'm going to get my mat out and bamboo. Right, so I've got a piece of extra bubble wrap here, and I'm going to lay it inside this other piece of bamboo, in this other piece of bubble wrap, and then I'm going to get my mat and I'm going to lay that inside there, and then as I roll the mat I can then start agitating. There we go. I can start agitating up the fibres for them to start working together. And that's the gist of it. So I'm going to do the rest of this, and I'll fast forward it, and I'll catch you on the other side. So there you have a felted vessel. So there's still a lot more work that I need to do to it. I've got to bash it around a bit. I just want to make sure that this is all felted in properly. There's no layers separating at all. And then when you cut your little hole in the middle, you've got to work that so it felts the edges there, so you don't end up with sections that will pile out. But so far, it's looking good. Looks like a beret. A beret for a midget. Right, so I'm going to get on with the rest of this. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so there we go. So once you've got your shape that you're looking for, give it a good bashing about 20-30 times, right? It's really good therapy. Just look, right? Do like that. Give it a quick wring out. And then some people, depending on the shape, If it's like more of a little bowl, get a balloon, blow it up, put a clip in the top of it while it's like the balloon's sat inside, blow it up, clip it, and that'll help keep its shape. I prefer the paper method. So if you've got newspapers or blue paper or kitchen roll or whatever you've got spare to hand, and then push it right into the sections that you want it to shape to, and it will dry in that shape you want it. There we go. So I'm going to leave that by my fireplace today, and that will be dry by this evening. But this is the sort of thing that you would do. So if you had foam fillers like what I've got, or some sort of thicker sheet plastic, but enough that's pliable and will bend around, because you want to be able to bend it and then pull it out the hole at the end. But it's the same principle if you're making felted slippers, felted mittens, those sort of things. That's the exact same method that you can do for doing those. So maybe that's an idea for any other advents you've got coming along, that maybe you want to create something a little bit different. Just cut out your footprint, but add on an extra 10% onto the infill on your marker. Put your foot on there, or your hand closed like that, with your thumb out like that maybe, but add 10% around when you're cutting it, because it reduces by about 10% when you're going through the wet felting and filling process anyway. So there you go. So I hope you like that today. A little bit different, might be a little bit longer than my usual ones, but I think it's well worth it. If I can show you little bits and pieces that I do now and again, and I haven't done a felted bowl for years, so this was actually quite a good treat to do, and made me remember that I haven't forgotten how to do it at all. And if you don't have a bamboo mat, use your bubble wrap and a rolling pin. That's another thing that you can use, because you can find all sorts in the house when you go looking for it. Alternatively, your little mouse sander. Take the sheet off the bottom of it, like your sanding sheet, just the mouse itself, and use that to agitate and vibrate. That'll do the exact same job as well. Otherwise, fingers, great tools, use them. It's what we've got before. So there we go. So I hope you enjoyed that today, and I'll catch you for Advent 10. Ooh, 10. So I'll see you later. Have a great day wherever you are. Bye.